go.
Good to me.
All right. What's going on, everybody? We are here to hit the gauntlet, and I'm here with Dan, and we're going to see how this does. We've got a sign and the Acura this time. Oh, shit.
Hopefully she's not sticking out too far.
No, that sign might have actually helped. Look how close that is, though. That's not as far as that other time. And then just like in the other gauntlets, this is pretty normal.
Yep.
We have this random delivery truck for like someone's house, which kind of throws me off.
I love it. This is all the stuff we need right here.
Yeah. In the past, like pre-version 11, that would have messed it up pretty bad. It would have either gotten stuck or it would have stayed there and then started like jerking the wheel back and forth, like not really knowing where to go.
Yeah, yeah. My brother has a Model Y 2023 with FSD purchased. 100%. I would see that, you know, that
weird
jerkiness.
Yeah.
That would scare a lot of people, especially women. Yeah.
That's true, man. And it's largely seems, I don't want to say it's completely gone, because like it still has its moments where it wants to like vibrate, but it's definitely not as bad.
Well, that's why I reached out to you and, you know, tried to get this version under my belt, because 11 was a little twitchy.
Yeah.
This one I heard about being a lot. It's like it drives like a human a lot more. So I wanted to see that. I wanted to get that under my belt to see how it was doing. And so far, the little amount that we've driven, I can totally tell what they're talking about.
Yeah, it has definitely acquired some human tendencies. Some maybe not as tendencies you would want with the way it'll sort of like take off. But I also like that because it needs to be assertive enough to fight for its position.
Yep.
Now, this is the term that's always been a bit of a struggle with initiative because of the way these cars are coming, and you can see it actually being here in person now. But that was good. When it finally had its clearance, it went off here. Huh. Now getting onto this bank in the gauntlet has proven to be a challenge. I got this guy who's almost wanting to cut off to our left behind us, and because he's coming out to the side, and then like other people will turn to the right, and the system taking a chance to come in and not get past. Let's see. Okay, pretty good. Now this is a little too far there. This corner has been a concern of mine. We'll see how close we get. Ooh.
Oh, this one right here.
Oh, so close, so close. I'm looking at the camera to make sure we don't actually touch, but it's
pretty close to the curb.
Yeah, I mean, uncomfortably close.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that's a really difficult thing to train out. Like that'll get better.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of, you know, making those small corrections.
100%.
But it's the most obvious change that I've not been a fan of in recent builds.
It wants to take apexes. Like
it does. It kind of wants to hit it like a racetrack, which I'm torn on. I'm like, look at you. But if I knew for sure, if I had the same level of confidence in it that I do in me on apexing corners, I probably wouldn't be as nervous. But I kind of feel like I'm driving with my wife a little bit sometimes there, because I'm like, she's had her history in her Model Y of little curb kisses on the wheels. And being the passenger and seeing how close you can get to the curbs, I'm just like, babe, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Most of the time she doesn't, but then I don't know. You're used to how close you get to stuff. This is really lingering, probably because it sees the turn signal of this BMW right here, who's sitting on our quarter panel, which is, there we go, he backed off a bit. But we need
I don't understand, man. Like when you throw a blinker, and then you have those guys that like get right up next to you.
Gap. Yeah.
It's almost as if they don't want to let you in.
I think it's an ego thing in a lot of ways. Yeah, and I mean it's funny because there are times in really, really dense traffic when somebody's trying to do like a last minute cut in on an exit that I want to stop them just to be like, you should have planned ahead. But then I have to kind of stop myself and be like, but yeah, you've been in that position though.
Yeah, I have been in that position.
And I actually I love pointing out because the system mute sees the turn signals and slows down and lets them in. And I'm like, look at that. FSD is already more nice, more compassionate to fellow humans than humans are. It's pretty nutty.
Well, hopefully when we're all looking down on our phones and it's doing it all by itself, if it's slower by 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, who cares, right?
Yeah, I think about that a lot. That's why I've gotten pretty used to over the last couple of years. Like, I'm not pedal to the metal everywhere I go. I'm cruising usually, 115K is about 70 miles an hour. And that's a comfortable cruising speed. It's efficient. It's not slow, but it's not, 80 going past everybody. And I'm okay with that. Especially the times that I've taken the really long road trips, I don't care about getting there yesterday.
Right.
I can throw on a podcast, an audiobook, and FSD is just doing its thing.
Yep.
We experienced that when we were driving all the way to Florida and back in the Model Y.
Well, we've all felt it. I mean, when you're on the couch and you're just browsing through X, or you're browsing through YouTube videos or whatever, and then you just see that time, look up and you're like, wow, an hour and a half just went by.
Oh, the stop sign's gone.
There was a stop sign right there?
Yeah, there usually is.
Okay.
On older builds, the problem was that it would stop there, and it's not supposed to. The lane that we were just in is a through lane. It needs to keep moving. The stop sign is to turn left.
Got it.
And earlier builds would stop there and try to wait and cause people honking, and it was a failure condition of the gauntlet that was fixed with version 12. Version 12, it's never had a false positive stop sign issue. It just goes, which is really good, and yield behavior has gotten pretty good too. Before I forget, go ahead and throw in Great Maple here. Navigate to Great Maple. Oh, come on, you usually work. Something went wrong. Of course it did. It seems to have a weird issue with the light shift there. It always seems to slow down right before that bridge, because I think of the sunlight and the dark shadows.
I see.
All right, now we're back on the return path, which will take us on to the weird re-entry. And for those of you watching the video, if you've seen the recent gauntlet, it messed up and went to the left, but then managed to correct itself and get onto the highway. So I don't really know what's going to happen here. We're just going to find out.
Find out?
We'll see. Usually right where that car is, it'll start, a left turn signal comes on pretty much right about now. So if it doesn't do that, that's a good sign. Well, there it is.
There it is.
And then, but this time it didn't get into this lane. Will it correct in time? Oh.
Whoa.
Oh. Come on, Mew.
It's indecisive.
There it is.
Wow.
Holy shit. And then this Prius is racing through. So if we don't go, they are going to go. And now we're in that awkward situation. But unlike the Mustang where I had to disengage, FSD did see them and stopped.
Yeah.
So that's a better run already than the last gauntlet. Because I didn't have to disengage at all.
It's so good at showing kind of like intent. You know?
Almost like it's seeing and watching, be like, are you going? Am I going? Are you?
And on a motorcycle, you have to do that,
yes.
Right? You look at everyone right in the eyes. You're like, what is this guy doing?
Yep.
And I'm going to show him, right? Like, okay.
That was something that was brought up. Are you familiar with Joe Scott, Answers with Joe, at all on YouTube?
No.
Oh,
no.
You'll like him.
Okay.
He's a fantastic content creator, science communicator.
Got it.
He brought up something on the Ludicrous Future podcast with Tim Dodd and Ben Sullins, that when we're talking about self-driving, he's like, well, as people, we can like see you in the other car, make eye contact, kind of like no body language, like, are you going, am I going? Yeah. Will technology be able to do something similar? That's a valuable statement, and I think what we just saw is kind of maybe the start of that emergent behavior, where it's like paying attention not to the body language of the driver, but to the situation as a whole.
Yep.
And like figuring out when it needs to go, and just hopefully being better than the average person is at that, which I don't think that sets the bar very high personally. Yeah. Here's another funny part though. It might be a little weird because we have congested to Bravo. I think Bravo's first, Alpha's second. But even though we're supposed to take the second one, like a 50-50 roll of the dice, it'll go to the right and take this one instead. It looks like we are actually going past it though, which is awesome. This is sometimes a failure condition because it'll go up to the right and then it gets stuck in a situation where there's like a lot of don't turn lefts. And if I have a customer with me, that's a lot of wasted time, rerouting. That's not a service you would likely go back to as a paying customer.
100%.
And that's why I consider it a fail. Some folks think that the failure condition that I have for like a failed customer trip and the percentage you see on the report is a little too harsh. Yeah. I don't think so. Because I know as myself, especially being a driver for rideshare, when I am a passenger, I'm so judging the person driving. I'm like looking at what they do, how they drive, their smoothness, their if they miss a turn.
Same.
Because that's just what we do. We need to go a little faster here. I'm giving it a little throttle just to not slow people down. This was the other false positive. But now it'll slow down, but there's no stop. It just proceeds. Which has been the biggest sticking point of version 11. Like now it's finally back.
I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed.
Let's see. I wonder if it can actually get back over to where you would need to head back to that same spot. Because this is another point that would be kind of weird, is how it behaves with this left turn. So we're turning to the right now. So this is one of those weird, and this is partially, I think, too, because of throwing in a navigational change at the last second. And now the system's trying to recalculate everything. And I like to see, for some reason, it wants to go to the right. Like, this is really interesting.
Huh.
This is the kind of stuff I love to do on my own, especially. Like, what are you thinking? Like, all right, now we have to reroute, so what are you going to do? And I think that's going to be an area of needed improvement, is the communication between self-driving and navigation. and remapping and
but
replanning.
It's figuring its way out. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh,
again,
yeah.
like, yeah, I might have lost a little bit of time there, but
Yeah.
Again, if I was looking down at my phone, I wouldn't care.
Totally.
And
That's
if
a fair point.
And if it's avoiding, just areas where it's had issues in the past, I'm okay with that.
Agreed. I do think the same thing there. I've actually thought that it wouldn't be unwise to, because you will have the data of all the areas that have these weird congested spots. Like that left turn back to the 163 there can back up for like a full 2 miles sometimes. And the system being able to go, that's a big slowdown. Maybe we can find a different route.
Of course.
I think that'll be extremely valuable. Oh, I like that it's actually choosing to go to this light. I sometimes prefer this light over this one, because this one is where everyone will go and back it up, and then I'll get past people by going this way. Not really applicable here, because there wasn't really any traffic on that particular light. This is my own like nervous tick. I see all the fingerprints from messing with this.
Yeah.
That's just how I am.
I see you wiping it on the video.
Yeah, I had somebody ask about that. They're like, "Do you use a certain cloth?" Or like, "What are you doing there?" I was like, "Honestly, I just the glare of the sun catches a fingerprint, and my brain goes, get rid of it."
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Parallel park, or what is he doing?
I think that's what he's doing. Yeah. What's been cool is seeing the way, like, if we were coming up on them while they were doing that, and how FSD will actually like slow down and then kind of decide to go around them or not, depending on the situation. It's cool to see that like real-time adaptation to what's going on around you.
Yeah, you don't know what it's thinking.
Yeah.
That's the other crazy part. Like, can it analyze all that? You know?
I would love to have like a Jarvis relationship with Mew here and be like, "Hey bud, what are you doing?" And just have it say, "Just planning for this maneuver."
Yeah. John Gibbs guy, that Dr. Know-It-All, he's just like
I love him. I watch all this stuff.
he's so brilliant, man.
Shout out to Dr. Know-It-All. If there's some chance that you guys are watching me and don't watch him, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You gotta go check him out.
But he thought he mentioned like how awesome it would be for the car to actually tell you its intent.
Yep.
Right?
That's why a lot of us have loved with like at the top of the screen where you'll see it says, getting out of passing lane, taking left at the fork. Like it's giving more information now, which is cool. Well, not that, that's just the nag. But you'll notice like when it is doing certain things, it'll pop up a little message, and it does it on the small screen up here too. But it's kind of cool having the full visual space there.
Yeah. Such an interesting time knowing that, but neural networks are kind of like a black box of data, who knows what it's thinking inside there.
Yeah.
And then we just,
And the amount of computations going on all, in second to second, that's just insane to think about. The level of compute.
Yep.
And areas that I want to dive more into and learn more about, that's why I just ingest videos from Dr. Know-It-All and any science communicator I can as well, because this stuff is still way above my head. I do what I can to break down things for people that I do understand well enough. But I am so quick to hedge when it's like, I am not an expert here. I might say the wrong thing. Don't take it as gospel. And what I love is that part of the audience that's growing are people that do have knowledge in software and training different systems. And it doesn't have to specifically be Teslas, but similarity enough that that certain principles are the same in different things, and being able to learn that and understand. Like back in the day, I thought that it was learning in real time when it would do something right that it got wrong the day before, and then I was quickly corrected, like that's not how the system works. There's a set of possibilities that it can have, but getting it wrong or right is more so chance than in actually like actively learning and remembering something like we would. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. It's so easy to kind of think it is learning in real time just because it does something wild, like getting a U-turn out of nowhere. You're like, did you just learn how to do U-turns? It's like, calm down.
It's wild. Yeah.
In this case, with version 12, it does seem to be the case that U-turns are solved. They're a bit slow, but that's fine. Like you don't need to,
it blows my mind.
At max speed.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, a lot of people saw the little cul-de-sac video I put out where I attacked Chuck Cook because my buddy Elias told me that Chuck Cook had the cul-de-sac thing happen too. What are you doing here? Get it, pick a lane. All right, see, I'm going to take over because that's just dumb. That was sloppy. System was hovering between 2 lanes. And I tell the viewers too, because I haven't heard this directly from Tesla, and I haven't heard anybody kind of link me to a source as to where we heard it, but that the highway is still technically version 11.
11, yep.
And that is one of the reasons that we won't be above 95%, I think, on the customer trips, because 70% of what I do is highway based, and it might take the wrong exit or do something dumb like that. Like, that's just uncomfortable and not okay. Not a huge issue that won't be solved, but in the moment, no, you got to intervene. You're going to be that guy that's hovering in both lanes.
No, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
But it's also, unfortunately, some people get really bent out of shape to see the system do that, or they like take it to an extreme. It's like, calm down. This is part of training. It's part of the system getting better.
Yep.
Back on version 10, it would yeet into this corner so fast that if I didn't intervene, we were going through that guardrail. It was just physics. It's just going to happen.
Yep.
And now it gets it every time.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see if 12.4 has, this merged into the highway.
I hope. That's what I'm waiting for. I think I commented on Tim Does on X when he mentioned, I think it was 12.4 or the next iteration, whatever version we're getting. And I was like, I won't be excited until it includes end-to-end highway as well, personally.
There's a lot of pressure on this next one, I think, man.
Yeah.
Because, you have 2 weeks. 2 weeks worth of, training data, or, it's in the oven, it's cooking. And when it comes out, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on hoping that there's going to be another exponential leap because,
Sure.
I mean, that's 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
There's only so many 2 weeks in the year.
Yep.
And then if we're going to reach some type of, level 3-ish, or, I'm not saying this is RoboTaxi ready by the end of the year by any means, but if we're going to have to reach some type of,
Like
higher level inflection point,
Yep.
we're going to have to start seeing growth in between those iterations.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pressure put on Elon here.
Oh, there totally is.
Yeah.
I mean, and they've done incredible things with no handbook. Like, this isn't something that's already been done.
No.
It's just being done better.
No,
they're
paving the
literally
way.
inventing it as they go.
No, they're paving
Yeah.
the way. And I mean, that's his forte.
Yep. That's something that I think is lost on a lot of folks that are, I mean, our species as a whole, we're used to instant gratification.
I'm looking for lights.
Yeah, I'm
on the
watching. He's
display.
coming to our left here. And yeah, you need to move. We're already to the right. That's pretty good. I don't think that's... It does show occasionally, like, slowing down for emergency lights when you're on the highway and such.
Some people are dangerous with it, though.
Yes.
Like, they take it to an extreme. They see the ambulance coming, cut through, like, 4 lanes of traffic, and then get over to the side.
It is kind of wild, man. I see that. Or sometimes people are just like, I'm not going to move. And I'm like, dude,
the other extreme.
If I got a fire truck coming behind me and I'm at a red light intersection, I'm going to awkwardly and slowly pull through that intersection and get the hell out of their way. Somebody's life's on the line here. I mean, life, property, whatever you want to say. Like, imagine if it was your mom in that burning building. You're getting the hell out of the way.
Yep.
Our fellow humans can be interesting.
I just, I noticed, like, a lot of people texting. Like, more and more and more and more. Like, as we go in year after year.
I don't like messing with my phone, even with this technology.
Have you ever noticed that, like, no one really gets stopped for being on their phone anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it seems to be sort of a loose threat. Like,
I know I'm a bit older than you, but, like, I remember when, like, cell phones became more prevalent. People are pulling people over left and right.
Yep.
If you were on their phone, at a light, the cops would have you stop. Now the cop's on his phone.
Yeah, good point. Oh, so we got cars to our right now, so I'm going to have to make sure we don't cut anybody off.
This is good.
Let's see. Well, see, this is how it was in the very beginning, where it went all the way to the left. Interesting.
But it's taken them into consideration, though. Right?
I think it might be. Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to think it is. Like, it's like, oops, we went too far, and now we got to go, and it's trying to figure things out. I might have to push us through here to not slow down the dude behind us.
Right.
So I'm going to, we can't turn a U-turn there. That's illegal. System is struggling to follow route. But there we go.
Okay.
That was actually the original failure condition with version 12 for that particular entrance to the highway. And it's really interesting to figure out what's going on. I do have one viewer, shout out to Ruben, who was saying, and please correct in the comments if I'm getting this wrong, but that the system is detecting that essentially we need to do a U-turn style maneuver, a hairpin, and that it's just choosing to go the wrong way, which is an interesting concept. That based on whatever it is, the underlying maps information is conflicting somehow with what's happening in real time.
Okay.
That's about all I can speak on that, because I don't really understand enough to meaningfully comment. I just know that version 11 and version 10 never had an issue with that highway entrance. Version 12 seems to struggle. and it's kind of a 50-50. And if you're down, I'd love to show you that right turn bike lane test.
Let's do it.
Because that is also seeming... It's funny, because that day, those 10 passes, lead car or not, like it figured it out, and it got around, and it did good. And then when I went back, it messed it up twice in a row. I was like, wow, this is a bit of a Russian roulette of, like, will it work, will it not?
This is the most interesting part about this build, is just watching it, like, try to make decisions on its own.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see if I can just navigate to McDonald's on Park Boulevard. I wonder if that's enough to bring out the exact one I need. There it is. Bam. I mean, downtown is notoriously difficult. I mean, even for humans to navigate, if we're being honest, let alone a self-driving system. Now, before it actually struggled to even, go left.
I remember, I think when you first got 12.
Yeah. Yep, that first gauntlet run, it didn't do well right here. Okay, at least, I think, because I put us in the turning lane, which might have helped. It's hard to say, because when I originally turned it back on to go around this way, it was in that right lane instead of getting into the turning lane.
Yeah.
It's just funny little behaviors, which I think are interesting little points, like datum, like just little bits, examples. I don't put a whole lot of concern into it, because I have no doubt that that's going to get iterated through and improved, as future builds come.
Yeah.
But that's also why I've told so many people that regardless of how much time and experience you have on the system, don't get complacent, because little anomalies will occur. It's getting less and less. Like, I'm actually more surprised now, aside from certain areas where I just know it goofs, like the Washington Street exit, like that entrance point, areas that are repeatable. More often than not, though, it's like the random little one-offs where I did get something wrong. I'm like, really? You okay? Having a bad day? Because you usually kill that spot. Like, what's going on?
So, based off your intuition, how many nines is it going to take? How many nines is it going to take when people, like, you could say, all right, it's cool to be complacent?
How many nines, like the March of Nines?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know a way to assign a meaningful...
Because somebody was telling me, I was like reading on X, but somebody posted something about how many sheer miles there'll be every month, and then you start to realize it's like, okay, well, based off those miles, there's got to be an accident per mile.
Sure.
I mean, no accident is really like
that's hard to even conceptualize.
It's
just
really hard to
human error.
Yes.
I feel like we'd have to be at a point of total autonomy and have the AI engine behind it having iterated on itself without human involvement to get to that true level of perfection.
That's right.
But I don't think it'll be very hard to get to a point to where you're looking at an accident every 90 million miles versus 900,000. I think a lot of the data that was floating around over the last few years, if you remember, it was like reported that NHTSA, the average car was one accident every 400 or 500 or so thousand miles. I think that was sort of the average number.
Okay.
And then on the Tesla side, reporting from just use on autopilot, it was like 1 in every 4 million. So there was already an order of magnitude or a 10 times difference there.
Correct.
How that data correlates to now is what I want to see. Is it still 5-ish million, or is it now 50 million or 500 million? Which, I mean, they have enough. I think we hit 1 billion miles of traveled total cumulative miles on FSD now. I think that's what Ashok had tweeted, that FSD had finally gone over that 1 billion mile mark.
Right.
So I'm sure
we should be getting our 2 billion mile mark here soon after. Because, I mean, with everyone getting FSD this month, it should
that
really
is going to be nutty to see. Is like, what's the corollary now that you've had a free trial for potentially millions of cars, hardware 3 and up?
And then the second month, how many people,
sub in or
what happens with the take rate?
Ooh, little harsh break in there, but expected
it's
in traffic
necessary.
times. Yeah.
No.